Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Patti Brennan Show. Whether you have $20 or $20 million, this show is for those of you who want to protect, grow, and use your assets to live your very best lives. Today, we're going to be talking about small businesses and the impact that COVID had on small businesses. The statistics are quite alarming. You know, in America today, there are 31 million small businesses. By the way, what qualifies as a small business? Basically, the definition is a company that has 500 or fewer employees. But to be perfectly honest with you, most companies, most small businesses have much fewer employees, the average being about 10. So, what was the difference between the companies that made it through and the ones that didn't? Unfortunately, in spite of the government stimulus, PPP programs, incentives, many businesses failed. Unfortunately, while the estimates were that 400,000 additional businesses would fail as a result of the lockdown, the good news is the data is suggesting it was about half of that. But that's 200,000 small businesses that were closed. Now, we have to keep in mind, America was built on small business, right? What do we really mean by that? Well, guys, I got some information for you. In America today, small businesses represent over 99% of all companies nationwide, 99%. So while they may be small, they are actually huge when it comes to our economy. And I think this is really important because what we're learning is that what COVID has done, especially if I may say, with larger companies, employees are kind of getting tired of that corporate world. They're being forced to go back and do the 45 or hour-long commutes, and they're beginning to think, gee, do I really have to do this grind for the rest of my working life? Maybe I should start a small business. So we're going to talk about what was it about the businesses here locally that made for very diverse consumers not only continue to use them, but are now using them even more as a result of their response during a difficult period of time. So let me do some introductions. Joining me today are four very diverse and wonderful consumers of services and products here locally in Chester County. So first and foremost, Matthew. Matthew is our newest employee. Welcome. Christopher is our Army Ranger, father of a newborn. Jessica, mother of 3. And Bernadette Hunter, the ultimate consumer, mother of 4. So thank you all for joining me. So here's the question for all of you. You know, we've been through a really difficult time in our country. Okay, we've all, gone to restaurants and stores and things of that nature before COVID happened. And then we had the lockdown, and now we're out again. I would be very curious to hear from each one of you because you each have different perspectives. Has anything changed before versus after? And are you finding yourself going to places more often or not at all anymore based on what happened during the lockdown? Keeping in mind that the people who are listening to this program today may be interested in starting a business, and you're going to be giving them some hints and ideas in terms of things that work for you as the consumer and why you continue to do business with these companies. In other words, we want to make sure that anybody starting a business today does not become one of the 200,000 failures that occurred in the last year. Sound good? Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. Excellent. So let me start with you, Christopher. Okay, let's talk about restaurants. During the lockdown, it's not like we were able to go to restaurants, sit down with our families, etc. Tell me the before, during, and after for your family.
Well, before COVID struck and the shutdowns and everything, we were kind of free-for-alling it. We would go out a lot. We found out we were pregnant, and COVID hit very shortly after that. So our sort of lifestyle had kind of, immediately stopped in terms of going out and all that
stuff.
For
2 reasons, right?
Yeah.
COVID,
exactly.
And then you've got your beautiful son.
Yeah, then the additional concern of, pregnancy and a baby and things like that. But we actually, so from going out anywhere, anytime, to, being more concerned about, not being enclosed with a lot of people when, the height of COVID was really a concern. We actually started going in, walking around Westchester and going to Jocko Taco.
I was going to say, give me names. I want to know names, guys.
Yeah,
Where did you go and why?
So we went to Jocko Taco. They had a little sit-down area before, and we would kind of, sparsely go in there for a smoothie or whatever. But after COVID struck, they opened up a little window where you could just kind of walk up, do a contactless order and all that, and, good reason to get out in the open air, walk around, get a quick smoothie or, a taco or whatever. And just, we started frequently going into Jocko Taco or to Jocko Taco.
And how about now?
So we've kept up with that pattern. We go on a, morning walk every day, and we, just for budgeting purposes, we try to, not go out to eat every day. But we definitely go, at least once a week. Like our Friday morning routine is, we're going to Jocko Taco every day.
So they adapted to the new reality, made it easy to do business with them in spite of it, and as a result, they have a customer forever.
Absolutely.
You're going there now more than ever.
Definitely more than before COVID, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, college graduate, brand new job. What restaurants did you like to go to, and have things changed?
I've started to go to, during the pandemic, the Split Rail Tavern in Westchester. I'd gone a little bit before, but I wasn't 21 yet, so there's a little bit of a limit selection there.
All right.
And then ever since the pandemic, they were doing a lot of takeout, so we were doing takeout there. One of my favorite dishes is their mac and cheese. It has Cheez-Its sprinkled on top of it. But they just started back up with their live music, too, so we've started to go on Saturday nights to listen to live music there, which has been great so far.
So you get the food, the entertainment, and you feel like, okay, life is coming back to normal.
Yep, definitely.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay, Jessica, mother of 3 boys. You feel like you're always feeding them, right?
Oh, all the time.
And where are you going?
So before the pandemic, I have to be honest, Wawa was one of our favorites.
Okay, you and me both. You and me both.
Because you could pick up a quick meal and then get gas for wherever you needed to go after that. During the pandemic, I actually had a friend from grade school who was a chef on one of the chef competitions. He actually saw an opportunity and started his own business called Philly Hots.
Wow.
So what he'll do is he'll make a gourmet meal that all you have to do is throw in the oven or the microwave for a few minutes, and voila, you have a dinner for your family.
Okay,
so,
pandemic or not, I am calling Philly Hots. That sounds like a dream come true.
And it started out with just posting it on Facebook to a few friends, and now he has a weekly rotation of different meals, and they're delivered usually by his wife and his daughter, which is great. So it's a family thing, and he just has a little kitchen in a little church, I believe, in Westchester.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you. How about you, Bernadette? Where did you go before, and where are you going these days?
So, being recent empty nesters, my husband and I had this idea that we could go anywhere. We could do anything. But a week before the PA shutdown happened, my oldest daughter, her 6-week-old, her husband, and her yellow lab moved into our house. So we weren't empty nesters anymore. And there was a little bit of stress involved with that, a pandemic and a newborn. And so we were trying to keep things as normal as possible. So one of our favorite restaurants in town is Limoncello. And so on the weekends, and it turned out after our first experience with them, we went every weekend. We got Limoncello, and I'll tell you why. Because nobody else brought this up, but a very serious turn in the pandemic was no alcohol. It was very hard to get wine or anything you wanted, but Limoncello, not only did they give you double portions of everything because they were so grateful you were coming, they also created drinks in containers that you could get, and they gave you so much extra that the 4 of us had food for 2 nights, and we would just order a couple of entrees. And they devised this system because only my husband and my son-in-law were leaving the house at that point because we had a newborn in the house, that you could just pull up. And it was like a delivery line, and they would bring it out to you. And these servers were so grateful, A, to have a job, and then if you tipped them, I mean, they were just so grateful for everything that you tipped them, and we just kept coming back.
That is really interesting to me. Now, I should know this, but are they continuing that process where you can order and drive up and then and leave? Is that
So
a
yes,
permanent
they
change?
did. So now they have 2 open spots in front of their restaurant for a curbside pickup, and they created what's called family-style dinners. So
Fantastic.
huge portions that serve 4. Not to mention, it's hardly anything that you would think is expensive, and the food is excellent.
That is really interesting. There you go, guys. Like thinking about what an awful period of time, adversity brings out amazing creativity and solutions that, many of these companies and these restaurants are going to continue to do this because it's what people want. So what else? Are there other retail outlets, other places, again, before, during, after, that you felt did a really good job taking care of whatever it was that you were looking for, etc.? Jessica, this time I'm going to start with you. What do you think?
So I have a musician in my house, and he loves to play trumpet. And we reached out after the pandemic to Taylor Music because they're a small family shop, and they were still open, and they provide good service. So we took the opportunity to stay local. But it's hard because Taylor's is not able to use the Zoom yet to do the lessons, and not everybody can play a guitar and learn on a Zoom call.
Taylor's, I'm so glad you brought Taylor's up. That is a unique store in our community. That store was started in the year of the stock market crash in 1929. That has been around forever. And then in the 1950s, the father of the current owner, are Julie and Len Doyle, but Julie's dad stepped in. He was a music teacher at one of the high schools. They called him Mr. B. And he took over Taylor Music and supplied these instruments. And even to this day, what I love about that particular business and all of the businesses is that, when they have equipment that's really used, et cetera, it's not really there, appropriate to sell, they donate it. Mm-hmm. They donate it to schools, elementary and middle schools, et cetera, so that young people can at least give it a try, because you just never know when somebody might have a musical talent that nobody in the family realized, but they need the equipment to be able to do so. So they're very community oriented. I got to tell you, like you, I have, the kids, my sons love playing the guitar, and they would continue to go in there, get great advice. It wasn't a pitch. Most of the time they talked them out of the most expensive guitars, which I was really happy about, right?
Yes.
So they're just really good, solid people. And I appreciate you bringing them up, because we all think about, the mall, et cetera. Actually, you know what? That's a really good question. I'm kind of curious to ask all of you, and I want to hear from all of you in terms of the places, but as part of your answers, I want to know, is the mall dead?
Absolutely.
It's dead. No kidding. Okay. Tell me why, and tell me where you're going instead.
So my wife and I actually kind of have competing ideologies on this a little bit, I think. So before the pandemic, I wasn't going shopping anyway. So during the pandemic, I feel like things that happen with online shopping, free delivery, free return, faster delivery, all those things really made shopping more convenient. So I don't think I'll ever step foot in, brick and mortar again, really, for things like clothes or whatever, because if I don't like something or if it doesn't fit right, I just return it for free. And it's been made a lot more simple and streamlined.
Okay. I was forced to do that online stuff as well.
Yeah.
But, I got to tell you, the stuff that gets sent to me doesn't quite fit right, or the colors don't look quite the same as they did on the screen.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm not proud of this, but that stuff tends to kind of stack up on top of each other on my dining room table. I tend not to bring it back.
Yeah.
That's a pain in the neck.
That is a pain in the neck. You're 100% right about that. And that's something that it's just like one of those things you kind of got to just deal with.
Especially since you got to go online, go to their website, find a little teeny box that says returns, figure out how you're supposed to return it. They don't make it easy.
And you threw the box away a
Right.
week ago and you got it, and then you change your mind, and then you got to
Exactly.
find a box. But sure enough, something will come through the mail again,
Right.
and then you get a new box, and then you're good.
So here's a question.
yeah.
I get you. How about your wife?
So she is a huge fan of, kind of the little boutiques. There's a store in town in Westchester called Tish Boutique. And they're kind of, it's customer service, I think, is what sort of brings her in the door there. They've got, it's not a big store by any means, but they have a lot of, nice stuff, sort of unique items. So she likes going there to look around and get ideas of what she wants to wear. For me, I'm less of a, fashion forward type of person. So it's kind of like, I know I wear a large. Click. I'm going
Right.
to get that.
I don't
So
know,
just a little
Christopher.
easy.
You're looking pretty good.
She
you
dressed
know?
me this morning. So.
Oh, attaboy. Good. Okay. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, so one of my favorite spots to go is Trail Creek Outfitters. They have a place in Glen Mills. They're an outdoor store, so they sell equipment for hiking and snowboarding and have jackets and that sort of thing. And they actually opened their second store in Kennett Square somewhat recently, right before the pandemic. And they survived through it as the community came together and shopped there frequently. And it's a really great spot to get Christmas gifts. I feel like I've gotten my sister fuzzy socks from there for the past 4 years. So it's
No
a really
kidding.
good
All
spot to
right,
get
fuzzy
gifts.
socks, Carrie Brennan, here you come. All right, good deal. Thanks so much. All right, Jessica.
Okay, so I can't say I've done too much retail shopping, but Amazon would be where I would go for retail. The other kind of shopping I've done is obviously grocery shopping, and it's actually went to online. So I can say I've utilized that. Pick your cart, schedule your time to pick up, or have the delivery person bring it to your front door. So, yeah.
That's very interesting.
So during the pandemic, they really pumped up that.
Now, did you have any
feature.
trouble in terms of actually being able to go online, get the orders in? Was it days and days before
So
they could?
during the pandemic, it was really difficult to find the right time for when you wanted your groceries delivered or finding the groceries you wanted. There was a lot of shortages. But now that the pandemic's over, it still works for me
Fantastic.
to do the online delivery. So,
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay, Bernadette, how about for you?
So I definitely believe malls are dead. Yet I'm with you, Patty. I don't like buying things online. I'm tall, and inevitably the sleeves are too short, pants are too short. But the pro side of the pandemic with our wardrobes, as you know, it was
Sweatpants.
and from here up we looked great, and from there down we were wearing sweats. So the online things I did buy were more sportswear geared, and that I think is across the board an easy size.
Okay, that sounds great. So let's talk a little bit about some of the services that we were receiving before the pandemic. Things shut down, and then now they're back open again. Matthew, why don't you step up and tell us a little bit about your experience, what you did, and what you're doing today?
Yeah, so my hair's pretty important to me.
Let me
as
tell you
can
guys,
tell.
if you're watching this, you can see this guy's got a head of hair. Wasn't necessarily the reason he was hired, but certainly didn't hurt.
Yeah, so before the pandemic, I usually get my hair cut about once a month. And then once the pandemic hit, I had to get haircuts from my dad. He would give it to me, which didn't turn out very well. Because I usually go to Cruisin' Styles here in Westchester, and my barber, Dom, we went to high school together. He's a few years older than me. They had to shut down from March until, I think, June. So they had 3 months where they weren't allowed to operate at all, weren't even allowed to go into the shop, which really hurt them financially. But now they're back to normal, no masks, and if you're vaccinated, and they're full capacity, which has been great. So it's been really good to get back out and get my hair cut. It got really long. It was almost a little bit like a mullet. It didn't look very good, but I'm glad that I'm able to get back and get my haircuts now.
Fantastic. And good for your barber. Good for them, because they are in a minority. Of the businesses that failed during the pandemic as a result of the pandemic, salons and hair salons and nail salons, number 1 and number 2, those were the ones that ended up failing more than any other type of business. So that says a lot about the person who owns your barbershop and where you go. They're good business people as well as styling really well. So thank you so much. How about you, Bern? How'd you do it? You know, we women, we tend to have to do our dye.
I know.
And our
It
highlights
it
and
was
all that
terrible.
stuff.
So vanity had to kind of go out the window. Obviously, we weren't getting highlights, and our hair was all getting longer. I do want to give a special shout out to the salon I go to in Newtown Square, Privé. My heart went out to these stylists. We know we book 6 months out. You know, those appointments are sacred. So based on what was happening with the governor, they were sending rescheduling 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. They're trying to rebook people. Then they had to completely clean out their salon and put in the dividers, and every other chair could be used and only 3 people in at a time. I mean, they make all their money cutting hair and styling hair. And to your point, Patti, I don't know that they were ever able to recoup enough in whatever stimulus payments went out. So they really suffered. So the most I could say is I told everybody about Privé, so that when things started opening again, they were hopping.
You know what I'm hearing from all of you? What I'm hearing is relationships, the importance of the relationships. It is so interesting. I know that during the pandemic, we wanted to do something special for the hospital, the frontline workers in the hospital. They were there working double shifts, et cetera. And so at Key Financial, we made the decision as a company to get everybody in the hospital. We just took care of lunch one day. It was the coolest thing in the world to be able to do. And we called a local, restaurant, et cetera, Carlino's, and asked them to cater a lunch for like 300 people. And I got to tell you, they rallied. They pulled it together. They were incredibly generous, and they were so grateful for the fact that we called them and wanted to make sure that we were supporting a business in our own community. And they too suffered as a result of the lockdowns, but have come out of it because of people like you and all of us who are listening to this podcast today. So I think if I can kind of pull this all together for all of you, I think when it really comes down to it, whether you're starting a small business selling products or services, if you're thinking about going out on your own, just remember, we are all human beings. Relationships matter. They really do. What is it that's going to differentiate your business from everybody else? Is it going to be faster? Is it going to be of higher quality, lower price? And ultimately, it's what we say to our clients, our customers, that ultimately really makes the difference in the end. So, with that in mind, please go to our website at keyfinancialinc.com. Log on, go around. There's lots of resources there. There's white papers if you want to learn about certain things. We've got like 80 podcasts on all kinds of topics. And if you have a question, feel free. Send us what you're thinking about. What would you like to hear about? What would you like us to address? Because we're here for you. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great week. Take care.